Hello everyone. Difference between accrued expense, outstanding expense, and prepaid expense. It sounds very simple, but honestly, sometimes we do get confused about them. Don't worry, we'll go through all of them. So let's start. So before moving to the meaning of all of these three expenses, we'll take an example and try to understand all these three terms. The example is with the salary. So it's for the month of October. An employee is working for the entire month. Let's say on 1st of October, the employee has worked. So the salary has been incurred for that particular day, but it is not yet due because it has not been invoiced. Even for the 2nd of October, the employee is still working. 3rd October, it's still working. It works for the entire month, but it becomes due only after 31st of October. Hence, till 31st of October, the company is not liable to pay the employee. But after that, once the invoice is due, the company will have to pay the employee. So before 31st of October or till 31st of October, the expense will be called as accrued expense as it is incurred but not yet due. But after 31st October, till the time the salary is not being paid to the employee, it will be called as outstanding expense. So here in this example, let's say the salary gets paid on 5th of November after 31st of October. So it will be called as outstanding expense in between that period. Prepaid expense. Let's say the salary is being paid in advance before October, even before the employee has worked for that month. So then that expense will be called as prepaid expense. Now let's come to the meaning. Accrued expenses. Expenses which are incurred but are yet to be due. So these are not due, hence not required to be placed as a liability in your books. Prepaid expense. These are assets because these have been paid even before they have been incurred or due. So these will have to be recorded as an asset in your books. Outstanding expense. So these are incurred as well as due but are yet to be paid. As I told you, after 31st of October till 1st of November, till the time the amount has not been paid to the employee, it will be called as an outstanding expense in the books of the company. Basic difference between accrued expense and outstanding expense is both of them are incurred, but one is due, which is the outstanding expense, and the other one is not even due. So you don't have to record anything for accrued expenses in your books of account. But for outstanding expense, definitely you will have to book it as a liability in your books. Prepaid expense, on the other hand, is an advance payment for which the expense has not been incurred till now. This will be recorded as an asset in your books. Let's look at the journal entries for these two terms, because for accrued expense you don't require a journal entry. So for outstanding expense, it's a liability, and whenever there's an increase in liability, it should be credited. So here outstanding liability will be credited along with the expense account, which will be debited because there is an increase in expense account. Once you're paying out the outstanding expense will be debited because there is a decrease in liability, and then you have to pay it from your bank account. Bank account will be credited because there's a decrease in your asset account here. Now let's go to the other one, prepaid expense. Prepaid expense being an asset, it will be debited. So the middle entry that you can see here, prepaid expense is getting debited to increase your asset, and your expense account is being credited because in the first entry you are increasing your expense against your bank account, you're paying it, so you debited your expense, and then the same expense account gets nullified. So you can even combine the first entry because ultimately the expense account gets nullified, so you can just place prepaid expense account debit to bank account, it will work the same way. Now the last entry here is whenever the expense gets incurred, you have to debit it and then reverse out the asset account that you are already created, which is the prepaid expense account. I hope this was very simple and you are able to understand it. In case of any queries, do let me know in the comment box and I'll be happy to help you. Thank you.